Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Can you believe it? Today is my 10th Booktube anniversary. 10 years ago today, April 22nd, 2016, I posted my first video, and So It Begins is the title of it, and I started this journey on Booktube. 10 years! I cannot believe that I've been doing this for a decade. That's amazing to me. Amazing. I have done lots of different things through the years to celebrate my Booktube anniversary. There's a Booktube anniversary tag. I've done reading sprints for the amount of hours in relation to the number of years I've been on Booktube. I've done some look backs at some of my favorite books since starting Booktube. And this year I'm kind of combining two things. I don't think I have done a Q&A video where I've allowed you guys to ask me questions and I've answered in about 8 years. And I think part of this is because I do sprints every other weekend and people ask me questions in sprints all the time. And I've also done a weekend reading vlog, which is a lot more about my life as well as what I'm reading every other weekend. I've done those two things every other weekend for more than 6 years now. So I thought it was time though to allow you all to ask me questions. So I'm opening this up at the beginning. We're going to get into something else in a second as well. But right here at the beginning, if you have a question that you've been dying to ask, something that you don't know about me, I'm pretty much an open book. But I would love to hear your questions, so you can put them in the comments down below. And then within the next week or so, I will do a Q&A video where I read out some of your questions and answer them for you. I think that will be a lot of fun, especially since I haven't done it in so long. But today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at my Goodreads from 2016. I don't sort my Goodreads into folders based on different topics, but I do have a folder for every year since 2013 of all the books that I read in that year. So we're going to take a look at my Goodreads folder from 2016, and we're going to see, has my reading taste changed and evolved? I'm pretty sure it has, but we're going to look at how has my reading taste changed and evolved over the last 10 years and see, not over every year, we're not taking a look at every year, but we're just going to look at 2016 and see how things are the same or different in my reading since then. Let's go. Okay, so this is my home screen on Goodreads. I have not gone to look at this list at all because I wanted to do it live on camera with you. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to go to, where's my folders down here? Here's all my folders, 13, 14, 15, 2016. It looks like I read 94 books in 2016. 2015 is when I discovered Booktube, and you can see a big jump. 2013 was 64, 2014 is 61, 2015, 98. I discovered Booktube. So 2016, 94. And then ever since then, I've been up over 100. So we're going to take a look at 2016. Like I don't want to see it yet. Okay, here we go. Oh my word, how funny. The first one that pops up is Edenbrook, and I just reread that book this month for the first time since 2016. How perfect is that? That I first read it in 2016. I don't think I realized that it was exactly 10 years ago since I read that. I discovered Edenbrook and Blackmore by Julianne Donaldson. I discovered those from Reagan at the Peruse Project, who I don't really watch her videos anymore at all, but she is one of the people I watched at the beginning of my Booktube time, and I loved her channel. Even though we didn't read exactly the same, I'm thankful to her because she introduced me to these two books, Edenbrook and Blackmore. Let's see what else. Ink and Bone. I never continued that series beyond the first one. The Lunar Chronicles. I remember binging the Lunar Chronicles, and it looks like it was at the beginning of 2016. So January, February. January 8th, I read Cinder and then Scarlet. Where's Cress? It's weird that that's not on here as well because I did binge through the whole thing. So yes, Winter is the fourth one, and I read that in February. So loved that series, and I still love it. And I reread it a couple of years ago in 2021. I reread the series. Still really enjoy that. It's YA sci-fi. And I think one of the things I'm going to see on this list is a lot of Wi-Fi. I think one of the things I'm going to see on this list is a lot of is a lot of YA. Holy moly. That took me Wi-Fi, sci-fi, YA. That's what I was trying to say. I think I'm going to see a lot of YA books because that was a lot of the content I was consuming at the time, and I don't see a lot of people talking about YA as much anymore. I just don't, that's not what I watch as much, so I'm not learning about all of the new YA stuff that's out there. Anne of Green Gables, that definitely was not my first time reading it, but I must have reread it in 2016. The Goose Girl, yes, that is definitely... So these are all out of order. I should have sorted these to the order of the year, but it's okay. Before We Were Strangers, a YA book there. Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Love that. Agatha Christie. Charles Martin, one of my earlier Charles Martin that I ever read, Long Way Gone. Here's some YA. P.S. I Like You. My True Love Gave to Me. Definitely some YA there. Still was into the decluttering thing. I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, but it was a little too woo-woo for me. I'm not into thanking my objects for any reason. I don't talk to my things. And that's definitely part of her process. I just didn't like that. Mary Higgins Clark, another Christmas mystery there. Another Christmas book. Okay, so here we're going backwards through the year. Life in a Jar, the Irina Sendler project, is the first of very few solo book reviews that I did. This was a nonfiction about Irina Sendler, who helped rescue Jewish children from the Polish ghetto in Warsaw. And she kept all their names in a jar and buried it under her tree in the backyard. Oh, The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. That is a weird YA. I did not like it. I gave it 3 stars, but it was not my favorite. Harry Potter. I've only done one reread of Harry Potter, and it looks like part of it was happening in 2016. Completely A Call to Live Fully Surrendered is a Christian nonfiction, not necessarily one that I would recommend. Love, Anthony, Lisa Genova. Was that my first book by her? It might have been my first book by her. I Will Always Write Back is a YA nonfiction, Wolf by Wolf, the second full book reviews. They both happened in this year, apparently, right at the beginning. I just haven't done individual book reviews much. Unblemished is a YA by Sarah Ella, Christian fiction author. The Miracle Morning. I remember this was kind of one of the first projects I did where I was vlogging every morning and getting up at an hour early to do this Miracle Morning project. It was cool to try. Actually, I would not mind doing something like that again, but I like that I can see that I still like to give myself little challenges like the Miracle Morning, because I just completed my 75-day challenge, and this Miracle Morning was a challenge that I gave myself. I think it was just for a month to get up an hour earlier every day and do a certain number of tasks in the morning. It's kind of cool. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, YA duology, fantasy duology that I really loved. Woman in Cabin 10 was my first Ruth Ware, and I really did not care for it. This was the start maybe of my dislike of unreliable narrators. Definitely do not like. In particular, I don't mind an unreliable narrator, but I really don't like it when it's alcohol or drugs related. And that was the case in The Woman in Cabin 10. It just got so frustrating to me. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Junebug. I don't remember anything about Junebug. Torch Against the Night. That's as far as I got in the Ember in the Ashes series, because at that point, that was the farthest. That was the only one published. The next one wasn't out yet. And now last year, Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and I did a whole read through of the whole series, which is really fun. Miss Peregrine's another one. I gave it 4 stars. That's crazy to me because I don't remember it very positively. Great and Terrible Beauty, another YA. Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly, YA. The Night Circus, that's another one I would not mind rereading. I loved it, but I think I probably wouldn't have given it 5 stars. Now, looking back on it, I think the hype got to me. People were raving about it and I enjoyed it, but maybe not as much as everyone else was raving about it. I'm a little more willing to not just go with the crowd, I guess. Harry Potter again, Courtship Basket. Look, there's some Amish fiction, which right before I started BookTube for a couple of years, I was reading almost completely Christian fiction. And this Amish heirloom book, Getting in Here by Amy Clipston, is definitely some of that lingering. I still do read Christian fiction, but there was a number of years that was all that I read. So I could see the influence of BookTube on a lot of these books, kind of branching me out into different areas. The Light Between Oceans, I loved. So excited a new one is finally coming out or just out by M.L. Stedman. It's been 10 years. Very excited for that. The Glittering Court, another series I never continued. A YA fantasy series. Before the Fall, I didn't like either. That was one of my early Book of the Month books. Didn't care for it. Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Oh, that is a graphic novel. I'm like, what is that? It's a graphic novel and I didn't care for it. 3 stars. Catcher in the Rye, I don't believe it's 3 stars. It's probably more like 2. I couldn't stand it. God is Able is a Christian nonfiction. Priscilla Shirer. Sold is a nonfiction. So I liked seeing that there's some nonfiction in there. Probably even more nonfiction than I've read in, maybe not last year, but in the years following. In between. Last year I started to read a lot more. And this year I'm trying to read a little bit every day as well. I don't get every day, but definitely a lot more than I did in some of those in between years. So I like seeing some of the nonfiction in here in this list. Ella Enchanted, a middle grade. Out of the Easy, a YA. Ruta Sepetys, I love her. There's more Lunar Chronicles there, the short story collection, and Fairest is another short story. 20 Boy Summer, I have no clue what that was. Monster Calls, I loved a Monster Calls. Middle grade, Dealing with Grief, fantastic story. Some YA, more YA fantasy here. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was a reread at this time. I'd read it before, reread through the whole series. In 2016, more Harry Potter. P.S. I Still Love You, YA. Ooh, look at this, A Court of Mist and Fury. That's as far as I got in the series, and I decided, no thank you, that is enough. Definitely more steamy, and yeah, I only gave it 3 stars. Definitely got even more steamy than the first book, and I also didn't love Sarah J. Maas's writing style. Reading them in print, she overuses ellipses and dashes. And if you're listening to the audio, you wouldn't notice that. But in the book, it got to be so frustrating how many times an ellipses, which is like ... or a dash, is used instead of a comma. Can we just use a comma? We know that that means pause. Put a period. Start a new sentence. There was so many ellipses and dashes that it got distracting to me. Even worse than the content of the book, which is crazy. Okay, more Harry Potter. Eleanor and Park, another YA contemporary, didn't love it. Love Does, another nonfiction. Court of Thorns and Roses, there's the first one there. Look at 2 stars. She definitely was not for me. YA, here, The Siren. Night, another nonfiction, loved. Here's my first ever Sally Hepworth, The Secrets of Midwives. That was a book that my in-person book club at the time was reading, and I really loved it. That was my first book by her. That's exciting. I've read a lot more since then, but only in the last couple of years. 13 Reasons Why is another YA book. The Diviners YA, Anne and the French Kiss YA. Cheating trope. Didn't like it. 2 stars. Salt of the Sea is not my favorite Ruta Sepetys, but I enjoyed it. 3 Wishes, not my favorite Leanne Moriarty. I know that has to do with triplets, I think. I didn't care for it as much. Rebel Belle, have no clue what that one was about. The same with, The Letter Writer is an Anne Rinaldi. She writes YA historical fiction, and I read a couple of hers back in the day. I Am Messenger, Marcus Zusak, another YA. Amish of Birch Creek, here's another Amish fiction sneaking its way in there. A sequel, Midnight in Austenland, Pride, Prejudice, and Cheese Grits. So here, earlier on in my booktube days, I was more obsessed with Jane Austen inspired books that are based on her stories or based on her life. And I have a whole collection on a shelf out in the other room that I honestly haven't touched in a while. There have been a few that I've read here and there, but I definitely don't read them as much as I used to. And I used to just collect them. If I saw anything was related to Jane Austen, I would just buy it. And that's something that I haven't done as much lately. Here's the other, Julianne Donaldson, Blackmore, love. I'm excited to reread that still this month. I'm planning on squeezing it in here at the end of April. More YA, Before I Fall. Here's another nonfiction, a comedy nonfiction by Mindy Kaling. Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? It was just okay for me. We Were Liars was a huge book at the time. I didn't care for it. 3 stars. Another Austen inspired. Here's the first in that Austen Land series. Fun series. The Nightingale. Oh my gosh, this was my first Kristen Hannah. And I read it because everyone was raving about it and it lived up to the hype for me. I did not reread it. Last year, Sarah and Lindsay, who do Booklist Thursday, my two of my BookTube besties, they have a Booklist Thursday book club. And The Nightingale is one of the books that they read together. And I did not reread it. And I probably should have, because I would love to reread that book. It was very powerful for me. I loved it. Nimona was my first ever graphic novel. And I read it just before starting BookTube, so March. Nimona, how fun. I definitely have read a lot more graphic novels since then, and ones that I've liked a lot better than that one. But that one's special because I remember that was my first graphic novel. Cool. Between Shades of Grey, loved. YA historical fiction, but Rudis Apetys is one of the best. And that's also, so now we're into books that were before I started BookTube, but that same year. For the Love, nonfiction, Christian nonfiction, Cinderella Princess. I don't know what that is. No idea. Forgotten Recipe, another Amish book. Rook is a book I heard about from somebody on BookTube, a YA fantasy. Persepolis, another, oh wait, I thought Nimona was my first graphic novel, but Persepolis is a graphic novel. I guess I was wrong. Persepolis is a graphic novel. Graphic memoir. It was really good. Red Queen. I did not continue with this series either. YA fantasy. Wedding Night, Sophie Kinsella. Uprooted, I definitely learned about because of BookTube. It's a fantasy. I don't think it's YA, but Nicholas Sparks. Oh, how funny. Colleen Hoover. One of the few Colleen Hoovers I've ever read. November 9. And Ruby. I don't know what I rated that. I don't remember anything about it. Okay, so looking at that list, clearly I used to read a ton more YA. In particular, YA fantasy, but some contemporary YA as well. Before I Fall, there was a bunch of YA contemporary in there. A little bit of YA historical, like Rudis Apetys. And I still would read Rudis Apetys. I love her. I've read just about everything she's published. Not quite everything, but just about. I need to add her to my Read to Zero list, actually, because I'm pretty close. Some romance in there. A lot more Jane Austen. That's another thing that I don't read a lot anymore, of the Jane Austen inspired books. I don't read a lot of that anymore. And a lot of nonfiction. There was a good amount of nonfiction in that list. And I'm glad to say that I've swung back around to reading more nonfiction, because I think that's something that I really want to have in my reading life mixed in. And I think now I would say I'm a lot more swayed towards contemporary books with elderly main characters. I feel like I read a lot of that these days, and that's what I am geared towards. But also in general, books that have an uplifting message or story. I definitely don't read as much dark. I read some fantasy for sure, but not as much as I did at the time. Definitely not as much YA fantasy. Looking at this 2016 list, it skews greatly towards the YA fantasy in particular. But there were some contemporary in there, some Lisa Genova. It's exciting to see that was my first Lisa Genova, and I really enjoyed her. Enjoy all of her books. That was my first. Sally Hepworth is another author I just was discovering at the time, and I've read a lot of her books. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I also learned that I'm ready for another Harry Potter reread, because it's been 10 years since I've read Harry Potter. So that might have to happen. Might have to start later this year. I do have the first book in the illustrated version on my 12 books that I would like to reread this year. So that might have to happen. Maybe during series September. Stay tuned. It's exciting to kind of look back and see how my reading is the same and different. I feel like I don't have anything profound about how my reading has changed, other than I'm glad I'm reading more nonfiction. I'm glad I don't read as much YA. I feel like my scope of the things that I've read is broader. I read a lot more historical. I always say that historical fiction is my favorite, but I think looking at this list from 2016, that's not reflected. I would say it's YA and fantasy, that seems to be the most. There's a little bit of historical sprinkled in. I think the little bit of Christian fiction that's sprinkled in is also reflective of my reading now, only not Amish focused books. I haven't read an Amish fiction book in years and years now. So I do still read some Christian fiction, but definitely not Amish Christian fiction. It was a genre of book that I did enjoy. I just don't read that anymore. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this little glimpse back at my reading from 10 years ago and how things have changed or stayed the same. I really love hearing people say that this is a Krista book or this is not a Krista book. I think my tropes and things that I like, my buzzwords, is very clear to people now. I like uplifting books. I like books with older main characters. I like books that deal with grief. I like historical fiction. I like things tied up in a big happy bow. I don't like an ambiguous ending. I don't like books about messy people doing messy things. I like books where you can root for the characters. I don't mind every now and then a book like The Favorites or The Compound where it is just a mess. But that is not my norm for sure. But it's fun for me when people read a book and on the sprints they say, oh yeah, Krista, this one's not for you, because it's very clear. I think that's something that has changed over the last 10 years, is that I've become much more solid in what I really do enjoy and don't enjoy in reading. And when I hear recommendations from other people, I'm not just swayed by somebody loving a book if I know that it's not going to be something that I'm going to love. But I hope that you enjoyed this little look back at the past, blast from the past in a way. And I can't believe 10 years. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, a part of this corner of the internet. I'm so thankful that you are here. I'm so thankful that I am still here. BookTube has seriously been a lifesaver and such an encouragement to me over the last 10 years. Just looking back, thinking about going through the pandemic and not having interactions in my real life very much with people at all, but still having this community to connect with. Walking through the last years of Jordan's life, my brother who came and lived with me for a couple years, walking through his illness and caregiving for him, and then his passing, and just how encouraging and supportive you all have been throughout so many different seasons, and moving here to Richmond, and just so many different times in the last 10 years where you all have been such an encouragement and such a blessing to me. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Oh my word. I'm so very thankful from the bottom of my heart for all of you. And I cannot wait to see what the future holds. And I'm so thankful that you are each going to be here to see. Let's continue this journey together, this reading journey. Bookish people are seriously the best people, and I'm so thankful for you. So don't forget, if you have a question for me, leave it down in the comments. And if you've made it to the end, but you don't really feel chatty or have anything to add in the comments, pick your favorite color heart and put it in the comments, because I love you so much. And I'm so thankful that you are all here, and that I'm grateful for you spending a few minutes of your day with me here and there. I'm thankful that I've broken the rules of doing BookTube. I don't have a schedule. I film on my phone. This is just casual and chatty, and that's how I love it. And I'm just glad that you are here with me through it all. So that is going to be it for me today. I look forward to chatting with you in another video soon. Let's go another 10 years. Here we go. Bye.